Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Quentin Gauze, and we are on the Life Journey podcast. We have a special guest on the show today, Steve Frohlich. What's going on?
What's up, Q? Thanks for having me, man. It's good to see you, and I'm happy to join.
Glad that you're on. By the way, this show is brought to you by Always On Vacation Clothing. Make sure you go to alwaysonvacationclothing.com to go cop some of your gear. So, Steve, man, first off, I want to kind of read a little bit about your bio because you have an outstanding resume, and a lot of people should know about that. So you went to New York University, got your MS. You went to, was it Skidmore College, right?
Yeah. I started Skidmore College, which is in upstate New York. I got my bachelor's in business. Then went to NYU and got my master's in public health.
Okay.
And I always kind of knew I wanted to be in and around the healthcare field, so that was important to me. I came from a family of healthcare administrators. My sister got her master's in public health from Michigan, and my dad was a healthcare administrator for like 40 years, 35 years. So it was kind of in our blood, and I knew that was kind of part of my destiny. So when I graduated, I just wanted to be like around the healthcare field, and I did started a few companies, and then in 2009, I started Parabolic, which started out as a physical therapy practice, and then about 3 years later, we pivoted and started doing sport performance training. Because we realized that like most of the stuff we were doing on the PT table was movement based, and it was exercise based. So it was just a likely kind of just progression for us. And then that was 2009. We just celebrated our 2010, I guess, and we celebrated our 10-year anniversary just now.
Wow. Yeah,
so I sped up the bio.
No, it's good. It was good. That's good stuff. It's crazy. So I was a part of that process when you did your first NFL draft class for training back in 2015?
Yeah, and that was a great year because it was our first year doing it. So to get the trust of you and other athletes that needed to perform at their all-time peak for one single day, right? Whether it was your pro day or the combine. So it was a really interesting program. We had an amazing draft class that year. We had Quentin Gauze, we had Steve Longa, right? We had Mike Burton, we had Trevor Simeon for a little bit, or was that the year after?
Oh no, that was the year you did one. So you did it a year before, I'm guessing, with Mike and them, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, so you right. So you get my years mixed up. That's what happens when you get to my advanced age. So, but it was a great. We had Gary Nova, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was that the year before too?
No, Gary was the same year.
Okay, so that it was 2014, 15. So that was our draft prep program, which was super fun to work on, and it was really successful because we were able to take an athlete from football shape, right? Because they joined our program like the day after their last day of whatever their game was. And back then, Rutgers was playing a little bit deeper into the season, right, than they have been. It was great. And then we took them basically and transformed them into track stars, even O linemen, right? It was all about your 40 time, certain other measurables. And so it was a super fun program. And you are our shining star with your shirt off most of the time. And I remember when I first met you and I was like, all right, we're giving out like swag, right? Give everyone like a bag and shorts and these tech tees and quarter zips and everything. And I'm like, Q, what size are you? Because you could have said I'm an extra large and you're like, no, I'm a medium. And I'm like, okay. So you put it on like with your Adonis like body, and you know, everything looks good on you. But it was like funny. I couldn't gauge that one, and I'm like, all right, from now on, you're a medium.
Yeah, that was an awesome year. Definitely being in the program, like I definitely learned a lot, and in that small time frame, definitely learned a lot.
Right, and then
So,
when you played football before that, and you played football after that, but it was a window in time, right? And you made, you know, just you expanded your network. We met, and and I think everything comes back to that, and everything comes back to, you know, who is in your group and who's in your network, and how you can, you know, use that network to help yourself, and how you can use that network to help your friends, your family members, and even this week I'm getting, you know, I get phone calls from people that, you know, don't need a job, but they need advice and they need me to help set them up with someone else, and I always like paying that forward. So I think just developing your network, whether you're a, you know, just graduating college, or if you're a high school student, or if you're a, you know, a 40-year-old person, you know, I love growing my network, and here we are. Even with, you know, with you, we developed, you know, we had a working relationship and a friendship, and now I'm just super excited to see what, you know, what your next chapters are, because they're always very interesting to hear about.
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, let's kind of harp on that a little bit. I mean, developing your network, you said, like, let folks know that are listening, that are entrepreneurs, that are just getting started, or have been having tons of trouble with connecting with people because maybe they're too shy to network. Maybe they're just at home on a computer and expecting business to come to them. Like, talk a little bit about that, like, of how you got out your comfort zone to start your networking.
Yeah, so I'm not a sales guy, right? I'm not the guy that's gonna sell you something that you either need or don't need. That's just not my nature. But what I do is I like to call it relationship development. So I like to develop relationships. I like to, you know, to certainly meet people and learn about them. And then everything kind of comes back full circle. It's, you know, for me, it's always about the long play, not the short play. So, you know, at Parabolic, we've grown from one facility, you know, 2010 to 7 facilities. Now we have 5 facilities. And every one of those opportunities did not come from me, you know, pitching some sort of sales thing, right? It came from just networking and knowing people, and people bringing me in and saying, hey, look, this is a really good opportunity for you guys. You know, you should meet this guy. And I've learned a lot from those experiences. You know, Parabolic has grown because of those, you know, that relationship development. At the same time, you know, I think there's 2 lessons there. One is growing your network is always going to help you. And, you know, opportunities will always come from that. The other lesson there is that we also opened, you know, 2 facilities, and they were ultimately mistakes, and we had to withdraw from those facilities. That's why we were at 7, now we're at 5. And the lesson there is choose carefully who you partner with, because you know, it's a marriage, and you know, you don't want to be in a toxic environment, even if if an opportunity seems really, really good. You know, we were in this like awesome facility, and everything was just beautiful and shiny and wonderful. And then, you know, when the true colors of our, you know, our partners came out, we realized that wasn't a good opportunity for us. So we withdrew from that cool opportunity in 2019. So I learned so much from my mistakes. So I think that, you know, networking is super important. Knowing who your partners are and, you know, trying to make the best decisions possible is really important, and also learning from your mistakes.
Wow, no, that's good stuff right there. That I think people definitely should hear. And I like what you said about, like, you make sure you really know who you're going to partner with, and also like the downsizing of your facilities, and like being able to go. You went from 10 to, you said 5 now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for some people it's all about, right, number of facilities, right? You can go to you know, franchises, or, you know, or other just expanding businesses that have like 10 facilities, 20 facilities, and that's somehow like a feather in their cap. For us, we grew to 7 facilities, realized though that wasn't the right choice for us. We are in 5 facilities in a much more streamlined business model. We're much more efficient. We're much better at what we do. And for us, you know, if you measure success with, you know, profit and loss, you know, we were, up until COVID, we were having a banner year, you know, even though we consolidated our operations. So for
Right.
us, the lesson was, how do we, maximize the earnings potential of Parabolic, but not necessarily with scale, but with utilization. So it was, we felt we can do better in 5 facilities than scattered in 7 with just toxic relationships. So for me, for the sake of my people, my team, I didn't think it was safe to keep them in a facility that wasn't a healthy environment. So
Right.
part of that was the reason that we left too.
Oh, makes sense. That makes sense. And that's smart. You gotta make your business moves and to keep the business surviving. Cause like, had there been times where you're like, man, like, I don't know, like, were there times like that where like, you felt like, look, like it's looking bad this year. I might have to either start something else, or was there any moments like that, or has it been streamlined? It's been going very well. Like, have you had scare moments?
Well, the most recent time that happened was about 7 weeks ago, when I really thought that we weren't going to make it. Parabolic wasn't going to make it because one of the things that we do is, we do physical therapy and we do sports performance training. Both of those, you need to be together with your clients or your patients. So in early March, when COVID continued to grow and grow and grow, again, we had a banner January. We had the best February of our history. We had a great fourth quarter of 2019. Everything was going so well for us. And then COVID happened. And when I say, our revenue dropped from, 100% revenue to 0 overnight. And what I had to do was make a decision it was like March, the week of March 16th. How are we going to survive this? Because the reality is it's not going anywhere. It's only going to get worse. So what it's funny. My daughter is a tap dancer, and her tap instructor all of a sudden went virtual, and she started doing these Facebook Live tap classes. And I'm watching my daughter tap dance in front of a screen, and I've like, light bulb went off. At the same time, there was like chatter about physical therapy going to a telehealth model, and I was like, this could actually work. But it was like all the parts of the idea were there, but they didn't kind of click until I saw my daughter's tap teacher execute it at a high level. So then, I got my leadership team together on calls, and we said, we're switching to or telehealth or tele-PT starting like right away. And it wasn't like,
Right.
Some of my team members were like, well, let's see how it goes. Let's wait a few weeks. And I'm like, no, like, you don't understand. You're going to be treating tele tomorrow. Like we have 12 hours to figure this out. And we did, and we evaluated in a very short period of time, 3 different platforms, picked one, and my leadership team, of about 8 people were like, just like jumped in. And they were spectacular when it comes to analyzing different platforms, trying to figure out all of the, compliance issues and the payment issues and the insurance issues and all sorts of stuff. It was so complicated. And honestly, it's been 8 weeks since then, and we're still haven't figured it all out, because then the world changed, right? Then there's, shutdowns and, federal stimulus packages and all this stuff. And we're just trying to understand in New York and New Jersey what the regulations are and what you can do, what we can't do. And just when we kind of figured it out, last week happened, and we decided that we were going to reopen. And we opened 2 or 3 now of our facilities for live treatment, because we figured we can do this safely. And during that period of 8 weeks, we had most of our competitors stayed open. They were treating live during March and April and May. And, that's their choice. And I think that if people want to come in and do that, that's fine. But I didn't think that we could do it safely. And I didn't think that it was going to be safe for our patients and also safe for our team. So I made the decision to not do that and switch 100% to telehealth. And then now we're reopening, but in a much safer environment. And I think people are just smarter, and people kind of understand now that if you're going to go in for a treatment session, you're going to wear a mask. Whereas like 6 weeks ago, if I said like, you have to wash your hands, people were like, oh, why are you being so strict? And so like the world has changed so many times.
Right.
So we pivoted in March, and our tele model was really, really successful. So, you started by asking, were there ever moments where you thought like, gosh, this isn't going to work out? There were historically, but it was happening. It literally happened, in the last 2 months. And I was, super concerned about the future. And then, again, it's all my team. My team was able to do the research, figure out how it was going to work, and they performed. I kind of steered the bus a little bit, but they got it done. So it was good. And we've retained most of our clients on a tele model, and now we're opening back up. So a lot of the people that were waiting to come in doing that. So it's it's not ideal, and it's not the way I would have scripted it, but it's been quite a lesson.
That's awesome. You know what? I think, again, folks listening from around the world, adjustments. You took the ship, you steered in the right direction. You felt that it wasn't good to be open because you obviously, because dry needling and all that stuff. Like that's a smart move, and you're still successful today from it, and you're open, and you survived. You survived it.
Yeah, it's about survival, and it's about me, but it's really about my team. Like my priority was, how do I keep 60 people employed, and how's that going to happen? And we had to make some sacrifices, and my entire leadership team, we all took salary cuts, and we adjusted like our entire team's compensation for this period of time. And everyone said, I don't know what they said behind my back, but they said, all right, I get it. I'm part of the team. I'd rather have a job after this, and let's do what we need to do, for the, just the continuity of the company to make sure that we survive after COVID. So that was tough. But, we wanted to make sure that we were going to be there for our patients, because we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of patients that rely on us for their health, and also on the performance side, for their fitness and their well-being, or their, high level athletes like you. So it's, again, at first it was, I was having like a holy blank moment for me and my family, but it was also about like, what's my team? Like I'm responsible for them. And then also, what are our patients and our clients and our athletes? I'm responsible for them too. So it wasn't, when you think about it, like the decisions that I was making, affected hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. So it was kind of a serious moment. And sometimes, like, when you're the CEO of a company, look, I love my leadership team and they do amazing work. But sometimes you make decisions like, really, and you feel isolated. You're very like alone when you make these like very, very important decisions. And I love working in groups, and I love when I like work with my team and we get to like come up with an idea together. On this one though, it was a little bit more isolated and more challenging that way. So again, my team helped execute this awesome plan. But yeah, it was a little scary. I kind of never felt more alone in the month of March. But it seems to be working right now, and we're definitely optimistic about kind of remobilizing and opening, which we reopened in one of our locations last week and 2 locations this week. 2 other locations were in like big sports destinations, and we're not allowed to be in yet. So, but it's all in stages.
No, makes sense. And when you get to that point, like you said, you felt like you were isolated. Do you have mentors that you go to when, hey, you got to make a big business decision like that? Or maybe like even when COVID wasn't around, like, do you have any mentors that you normally go to for help when, it's a time of crisis, or just a time just to need a decision that's pretty tough?
Yeah, I go back to my network, right? We talked about, how I can be part of your network, right? You're part of my network, but yeah, there are definitely people that I went to, and and I said, hey, look, you might be in a slightly different industry, but how is this going to affect you? What are you working on? Are you applying for PPP money through the government? Are you doing this? How do you do this? And I think when you kind of poll 20 different people, you kind of blend your own answers and your own strategy. So yeah, I definitely went out to, my network, my friends, my family, even like my landlord in one of our locations. He's a super smart guy. And, we kind of chatted about, what he's going to do and how he's pivoting and adapting, like you said. So I think that, again, use your network for a lot of things, right? If you're a young, recent grad, use it to, get a job or try to figure out what you want to do. I use my network to try to, help steer the boat. And it was really rewarding. And everyone is really very willing to offer help and offer guidance and offer their experiences. So it was definitely helpful.
Oh, good stuff. That's good stuff. That's one of the biggest things, like on my end too, building out Iron Visuals and visual marketing and branding. You got to have a mentor when you're building some of this stuff out. And like now we're doing well. We're running ads. We're doing PPC for people. But the biggest thing is like mentorship before you get into that. Because
Who was your mentor? Who was your mentor?
My mentor is this guy named Jabril Abrigo. He does over $1 million with just marketing around the world, and like 32 years old. And his mindset is just like, you got to be consistent at it. You got to show up every day. Because if you don't show up, I mean, if you don't show up, then you're not going to, you're not going to get to where you want to be. One cool quote that I saw on your site was, always deliver more than expected. Where'd you get that from?
All right. So first of all, you can't see it because it's on my computer, but on the bottom of my computer, I have a sticker that says deliver more than expected. So every day when I open my computer up and I start my work day, it's literally what I see. I wish I could take a screenshot of this, but it's literally right there.
Literally right.
Wait, I can. I'm going to take a screenshot for you. So hold, please. So this is the bottom of my computer screen. It's upside down, but there's a sticker that says deliver more than expected.
Wow.
It's literally, it's something that I think makes sense for me, right? And it applies to a lot of things professionally. But what we like to do is we try to do our best every day at Parabolic. But when people have an experience that was just a little bit better than what they were expecting, they'll talk about it. So only people that have fantastic experiences talk about them, and people that have really horrible experiences talk about them. Most people in the middle just don't think it's important enough to talk about that. But so we like to try to exceed expectations, and that comes like the smallest little things, like in our facilities, when you walk up and and you're greeted at the desk, we always have a jar of York peppermint patties. Remember those? Like I always
take them. I always take them when I come through there.
There you go. So the reason that's there is because it's not the most healthy thing. We actually started in 2010 when we first opened, and we only had like 6 clients. There was actually fresh apples. But it turns out it's really hard to get like fresh fruit every single day. So it became York peppermint patties. But not only are they in a bowl at the front desk, but they're also in our locker. So if you go to like a locker and you open up your locker door, there's a folded towel and there's a York peppermint patty. Those are little things to me that are really important, and they kind of round out a positive experience. So when our clients come and it's their first time ever at Parabolic, when they go to a locker and they see that, hopefully that's something that just is one little added value that they'll remember. It's funny because now people have told me like over the years that they started doing that in their business too, whether it's a car dealership or whatever. So, and again, I didn't invent it. I got it from a business, when I was in graduated college, and I thought it was an amazing idea. So I guess you pay it forward. But little things like that. And, look, the bottom line is we don't always hit the mark, and we disappoint people sometimes. And, and we try to do our best. And, when we miss the mark, I do my best to contact that client and explain why. Like we have one angry client today, that, has a insurance billing issue, and normally I can't reach out to every single client. We have thousands of them, but I reached out to her and said, look, we dropped the ball. We made a mistake, and I'm researching it, and we're going to make it right tomorrow. So sometimes that's what's necessary in my job too.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that makes the client happy that the CEO reached out. And they feel good.
It's funny, we do things like that, and we also have my new business development person, name is Cindy. She's really smart too, and one thing that she does is she makes sure that every single referral that we get and every single doctor that refers, like they get a handwritten note. So, when she sees me, she's like, sign these. But what the little things like a handwritten note to say thank you to somebody is something that it doesn't always happen anymore. And when you
Exactly.
and you realize like, wow, that was special. They took the time to do that. That's another example. So every single new client that comes in our door, they get a handwritten thank you note for for trusting us and coming in. The doctors that refer to us get a handwritten note, and some of them get a bunch of them. And but there's really no more simple and effective way to say thank you than a handwritten note. It's funny because I even take that, and I know this doesn't really happen as much anymore, but certainly when I was younger and I had my mentors, one thing that was really important to me is if I ever interviewed someone and they, it was very important to me that I got a thank you note. Thanks for interviewing me. Thanks for considering me. I'm really looking forward to working for the company. And so now when we interview people, and if someone interviews and doesn't write a thank you note, we don't even consider them for like the next stage, even if we love them. To me, it's an important thing, and we don't tell them that ahead of time. Maybe hopefully they're listening now, but to me, it's an important thing, and there's still some like decorum and gentlemanness in the professional work environment that I think that's really important. So if there's a young recent grad and you want to move forward, write thank you notes. It can go a really long way.
That's huge. Those are like little hidden gems that a lot of people overlook in business. Some people are like money, money, money. When it comes down to like, hey, like take care of your client first. Make sure they're happy. I mean, those are some hidden gems.
That's it. And again, we miss the mark a lot, but that happy person is going to refer you to someone else. And it's the long game. And, whenever I meet someone, it's not about like, what can that guy do for me today? It's, well, maybe in 6 months or a year and in 2 years or 5 years, that relationship will come back. And if we, constantly do a good job, you have a better chance of it coming back. So a lot of the deals that we're working on, this year, are just from relationships that we've had, from years past.
Powerful. You know who says that a lot? The long game?
Who?
Gary V.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, always talks about that. Good stuff. So a couple more questions. So what would you suggest? So how can someone get involved in kind of, I guess, like what you created? So like what I'm trying to ask is, how you're a business owner, how can they create someone interested in the healthcare field that wants to be a CEO, that wants to create something like Parabolic one day? This is probably like college student, high school student that's listening. How did you get to that point? Like, where did this knowledge come from to create? You had 10 facilities at one point to do all that. So how did you get to where you are in that aspect?
I think that I rely on people. Again, my leadership team now is helps execute, and they're super smart and they're super capable, and I rely on them. I can't do it all by myself, and I'm not an expert in really anything. I kind of dabble in a lot of little things, but I'm not an expert in physical therapy. I'm not an expert in finance. I'm not an expert in HR and hiring processes. I'm not an expert in just other strategy. Like I'm not an expert in all that. I'm I guess, I don't know if we use a bus or a boat reference earlier, but I'm steering that thing, and I rely on people. So when you've heard before, like you never want to be the smartest guy in the room, and I take that quite literally. My attorneys, my finance people, my leadership team, they're all a hell of a lot smarter than I am. And I think that, just trusting them and knowing who to go to get stuff done is really important. And then when I was younger, it was just make a million mistakes. I can't even tell you how many mistakes I made like today, but they happen a lot. And, my right-hand person at work, her name is Jasenia. She's been with me since the day one. She was my first hire.
Wow.
And she's grown up so much in the last 10 years, and you know, we've kind of aged together, but she's super helpful in just getting stuff done and helping me execute the plan and the strategy. But both of us rely on outside people and other experts. But again, it's putting together your team and trusting your team. So, you know, to me, my success, you know, financially and business has been about my team. But it's funny because people talk about like success and you know, and I think a lot of people have a different idea of what that really means. But you know, for me, it's less about money and about number of facilities and all that other stuff. Like, yeah, I want to have a financially viable company, but to me, a success at work has been that we're able to do what we're doing and be a successful business, but also stay true to our, you know, kind of our pillars, which are provide really quality care. I think if you talk to our therapist, there's not a single PT practice in the world that I'm aware of that really just sticks to the values and allows the therapist to provide quality treatment. Over the last 10 years, I've seen so much change. And, you know, and now it's all about high volume and, you know, just much less personal care. So we've kind of remained boutique, which is important. Yeah, so that's that. And then on the personal side, you know, I got to tell you that even though the last 2 months have been super stressful, and, you know, there are moments where I'm like, this whole thing can just sink. I've never had 2 full months to hang out with my family before, like every single day. So I think we're going to look back in 5 years and 10 years, or I'm definitely going to look back at that time and just kind of cherish the time that I have with my family. You know, my children are 12, they're twins. So in like, we're right in this perfect window where in a couple of years, they're not going to want to have anything to do with me. But now they're super fun and they're great. So, you know, when am I going to have so far 60 straight days with them? I've cooked 60 straight meals. I took one night off, we ordered in, but, you know, I cooked 60 straight dinners. My wife and I are totally tolerating each other, and she's super busy with everything. So it's just, it's really good time. So, but we have to get creative too. Like we have our anniversaries coming up. It's our 16th year anniversary. And, you know, I was talking to my wife and she's like, well, you know, what do you want to do for your anniversary? Because there's really not much. And she's like, I just want a date night. The kids can eat whatever they want to eat. We're just going to have a date night together, like in the dining room. And we're going to, you know, have a bottle of wine and that's that. So you kind of appreciate certain things now that are much less materialistic than, you know, than some, you know, would probably shoot for, you know, a couple months ago.
Right. Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful stuff right there. All right. So kind of taking it off from business, what's your favorite, obviously you can't go to it now, restaurant to go to in New Jersey?
I mean, it's funny because I'm a New Yorker. I work in New Jersey and I love New Jersey. But I can probably give you a lot more New York restaurants. But there's one restaurant that happens to be located in Montclair, New Jersey, next to our headquarters. And the food at this one restaurant, I'm telling you, I've been to all over the world. I've been Manhattan's best restaurants everywhere. But I think it's the best food ever in any restaurant of any type. And it's called The Corner in Montclair. So, you know, if you're from Montclair, you live in Montclair, you know about The Corner. It's this tiny little place. It's always super packed. The food is absolutely sensational. And I can't even, like, they make these scones that are like this big and they're incredible. They're chocolate chip cookies. Like when they bake them, like everyone in the restaurant like claims them because they never actually make it to the countertop. And, you know, they have these like avocado toast and these egg dishes and these pancakes. It's really good. So in New Jersey, my favorite restaurant is called The Corner in Montclair. Legendary.
Goodness. No, my mouth is watering now. Jeez.
You probably know all like is Dinosaur Barbecue big or is that Syracuse? That's not Rochester, right?
Oh, you know about Dinosaur?
Well, I mean, they're in Manhattan too.
Oh, they do. You know what? You're right.
You know, I'm thinking now it actually is hot really well. Do you know the service called Gold Belly?
Gold Belly, no.
So Gold Belly is this like service that delivers food from like all over the country. So they'll have like deep dish pizzas in Chicago, and they'll have like some of Manhattan's best restaurants, they deliver out and everything. So you can go on Goldbelly and like choose this like amazing food, and they ship it to you in a couple of days, and it comes like frozen or whatever. So for my birthday was in April, so we had a delivery from this restaurant in New York and this bakery in New York, and it was fun because we don't really have access to all that stuff.
Right.
Because it's Chef Steve time, but Goldbelly is good, so you should check that out.
Okay. I mean, and let's talk about this real quick about your chef skills. Like, I didn't know you were a good chef. So, what's your favorite meals you love to cook?
So I'll get to, so again, my wife is super smart, right? So one of the smartest things she ever did was she sent me to cooking school when we first got married. So she loves
Smart.
sushi. So she sent me this like sushi making class. So all of a sudden, bam, I know how to make sushi. And then she sent me to like all these like series of classes at the Institute for Culinary Education in New York City. And like one of them was Techniques 1, one was Knife Skills, one was this, so all this stuff, and it kind of like just sticks in my brain. So look, there's much better cooks in the world, but yeah, no, I definitely have a good like a foundation. So and I love like reading and on social I follow a lot of chefs and stuff. So I'm now is this time where like it's fun to explore, and we're a little short on ingredients, but it's fun. And the one thing that's great too is my kids are really enjoying cooking. So we're doing a lot of baking together, and we're doing a lot of cooking together, and I think that's really good family stuff, because like my parents cooked, so I was just always comfortable in a kitchen. So I hope my kids have that when they get older, that they'll just be really good cooks, and they'll have a passion for it as well.
Wow, that's you have a very smart wife. Everyone listening, get a smart wife that will do that.
She's super smart. She knows. I always said I would pay her back by sending her to like massage therapy school, but
that's awesome though. Wow, that's some good stuff. What's your 3 favorite books, either favorite books of all time or books you're currently reading, for some of the listeners to start reading?
All right. Well, one of them is called Blindness. I forget who wrote it, but it's about this epidemic where everyone in the entire world goes blind, and they have to like survive through it. So I remember that was great. And speaking of like what's happening now in the world, it's never been more relatable. One book I love is Hug Your Customer, which is a book from this basically this Mitchell family, and they own a retail store in Connecticut. And it was all his anecdotes and his philosophies about, just treating the customer really, really well. So it's actually, we used to make every single employee read the book. Now we've sort of abbreviated a little bit and give them like the highlights. But it's one of like the books that I have like 20 copies on my desk. I don't know, there's so many, but yeah.
Some solid one. Have you had a chance to read Atomic Habits?
Nah, what's that about?
By James Clear. I'm still going through it. I'm like on the 2nd chapter, still going through it. But it's just about like, your daily habits as a person, and how to execute to where, executing your day, and how to go about it to get the success you want. Like a lot of people have recommended it, so I ended up picking it up.
Oh, I'll check that out. That sounds great. And now it's like less about reading. It's more about like, listening to, because like, I guess I used to have this like long commute, and now I haven't been commuting anywhere. So maybe I've slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Last question. What's your favorite quote, or it could be your quote or somebody else's, that you can let the crowd know about, something that they could take home and like, man, that was impacting. I needed that.
Wow. I guess I should have prepared for this. Honestly, it's funny. Well, you also said it before. I would have said deliver more than expected, because it's, to me, it works for me. It's what I think about. You're putting me on the spot. Well, I'll have to come back on the podcast and give you a better answer, but I feel like I failed you.
No, it's all right. I mean, yeah, we will definitely go get you back on again.
I'm free tomorrow.
We'll go round 2 already. No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So anything else you would like to let any other listeners know, any young entrepreneurs, anyone that's either, a vet in the game too, anything else you want to leave them with?
Just, I think you're a really good example of this, but if there's something that you love and you're passionate about, try to find a way to make that your career, right? You seem to follow every one of your passions: travel, football, media. I've just watched you take these interests and just absolutely crush them. Like you don't seem to be someone that is going to be stuck in a job that they're unhappy with. So, it's kind of a cliche to say if you love what you do, never work a day in your life, but it's true. Like be around industries that you like. I mean, I knew that I was kind of destined to be in and around the healthcare field. It just made sense to me. There's other people that think sports is that. Not a lot of people get to do what you do, but be like around like the business of sports and that stuff. And that's great. And you got to start somewhere, and you got to, just have a lot of experiences and jobs. I think a lot of times, I meet a lot of young people and they just want to like hit the fast forward button and just get to the end. And I think that part of it is just experiencing that. And, also what's important is I've had really, really, really good bosses in my life, and I've had really, really, really bad bosses, like horrible people. And both were really important. And I've learned so much from my good bosses earlier in my career that have molded me to be the type of leader I want to be. And then also the bad experiences are just as important, because I know, all right, how am I going to react to this situation right here? I can react like this guy would, or I can react like this guy would. And if you do it enough times, it kind of becomes you. So I think that, having these weird bad jobs when I was 22 and 23, like that's all molded me to be the type of person and leader that I am. So I think that don't hit the fast forward button, and just learn from every single day and every single experience. And I think that if you're learning and you're in the career space that you want to be in, like you'll find a way to seize opportunities and be super successful in it.
Powerful words, y'all. Hey, Steve, I appreciate you being on the show today. Definitely, can you please let everyone know about the Parabolic's website, social media? Want to plug it in real quick?
No, well, sure. I'm just so proud of you, Q. I'm really happy when you talk about this. So for us, we're at Go Parabolic, and we, Twitter. Instagram is Go Parabolic. That's pretty much our heaviest feed. We're in 5 locations in New Jersey now through telehealth. We're all over the world. So anyone that needs any rehab, any aches and pains, we can address it starting right away using telehealth. And it's honestly been a godsend. I go to physical therapy 3 days a week just by using my computer now. And it's really an awesome platform. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Awesome
stuff. Make sure you go check them out. Look, I'll let y'all know, Parabolic service, like I gotta let you know, like every time I come to New Jersey, I always get Johnny my mic, because he does such a great job. He did such a great job.
We also have a lot of heavy stuff for you to lift, and you like that stuff.
Exactly. So you can get strong, you can take care of your body, whatever you need, they do it for you. So Steve, thank you so much. We're gonna have you back on at some point again. Because this was like
every day, literally.
every day.
Every day. All right, man, I appreciate you so much. And I love listening to you and watching you grow and listening to your other guests. It's really a powerful platform that you have, and make me proud.
Appreciate that. All right, so everyone listening, thank you so much. Closing it out. Q God's out. Steve's out too.
Thank you for listening to the Life Journey Podcast with Quentin Gause. To find out more and to follow the journey, visit Quentin's Instagram at QGause or our business page at iron_visuals. For full recaps of the show, find us on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Thank you for tuning in.